So much for joining us both here physically and for those who will be joining us online. This is our hashtag, wow, I cannot speak today, our hashtag Boss Lady Speakers Series. Today's topic is going to be Women in Leadership, See It, Sees It. And our presenter today is Ms. Marisa Darby. I do ask that if you have your cell phones on you, please silence them. If you have to leave, please exit quietly and make sure the door does not slam behind you. If you have questions, either they'll be asked at the end or whenever she has an answer and question area. Also, for those of you who are online, I will be moderating the chat, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll make sure that I get those questions to the presenter. Ms. Marisa Darby is a two-time alum of Grambling State University, where she earned her BA in English and a Master of Arts in Teaching Social Sciences. She's always had a passion for working in education, especially when it comes to working with underrepresented groups. She has been fortunate to have had the opportunity to work as a middle school, high school, and as a university instructor. She currently serves as the Associate Registrar at Huston-Tillotson University, where she also teaches a Women's Leadership First-Year course. Please help me give a round of applause to Ms. Marisa Darby.
So good afternoon. I want to say thank you guys for having me first, and second, I'm extremely nervous. So my goal is to not pass out. So if that should happen, y'all just kind of clap and laugh and let that go, because that's kind of where I am. But today what I want to talk to you guys about is women in leadership and See It, Sees It. One thing that I learned about being in leadership, especially as a woman, we have to set goals. We have to be able to see what we want to accomplish, because a lot of times people perceive that we can't lead if we don't have a clear vision. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to determine your vision starting from the very beginning. So what is leadership? Leadership is the action of getting others to follow your lead, trust your judgment, and for you to achieve a common goal. It's really simple. Leadership is an action. It's not just a word, it's not just a title that we hold, it's something that you have to actively do. And sometimes we get lost. So, you know, we have all these titles and these things that we do. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a professor, I'm a mentor, all these different things. And sometimes I get so lost in those things that I forget who I am. And before you can have good vision, you have to know who you are. Because once you know who you are, then you can decide what you can and can't see. So questions that need answers. Who am I as a person? First, you need to define yourself as a person, just generally. Who are you? What is it that makes you tick? What gets you excited? What are the things you're passionate about? Then as a woman, so as women, you know, we live in this world where we have the double standard. But you have to define yourself as a woman. You don't have to be hard, you don't have to be soft. What do you want to be? Who are you? Are you a mixture of both? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Who are you overall? Then who are you as a leader? So it's important to know what your leadership style is. And in my class, we kind of cover all of those things, and I'm not going to hold you up by going over all the different types of leadership styles. But this is something that you can kind of research on your own. When you look at your skills and you define yourself as a person, well, I'm this type of person. And then who am I as a woman? Well, I'm kind of soft, but I can be hard, and I'm kind of nice, but I can be mean. And then you start to look at all those different qualities and decide to start to define yourself in all three levels. Then the next thing you have to do as a woman in leadership, as a person in leadership, is you have to know your purpose. Why are you here? And we can start as simple as, why are you in this room right now? Why are you at this school? Why do you work the job that you do? Why? You need purpose. If you can define yourself first, once you do that and you figure out your purpose second, it's going to be easier as we start to define our vision and what that vision looks like. And the third question, and I ask my girls this, so I teach 22 girls. I don't have any daughters, I have 2 sons. So it was like a whole culture shock when I walked in the room and 22 girls looking at me and I'm looking at them and I'm freaking out and they're freaking out. So it was like a whole it was just a change for me. So I always ask my girls, I said, what are you willing to sacrifice to get to where you want to go? Because they have to answer all these 3 questions in the first week of class. And they said, Ms. Darby, you know, these are really simple questions, but when we sit down and try to answer them, they're really not as easy to answer as you would think they would be. So when I say, what are you willing to sacrifice, I give them this quote. To truly grow, you must be willing to sacrifice who you are for who you want to become. Because if you stay the same person that you are now, or the person that you are when you first walked into this building, how do you grow? Stagnation is not growth. It's that pause in between one step and the other. So you have to make sure that when you're thinking about leadership, when you're thinking about your vision and who you want to become and where you want to go, that you know who you are first. Because there are going to be things that will come against you that will push against who you are. And if you don't know who you are, someone else will define it for you. And you don't want that. You need to know your purpose. Why am I here? So I know who I am. I know this is who I am as a person, as a woman, as a leader. I've defined all of these things, but why am I actually here? What am I here to do? What am I purpose to do? And it may be simply to get a degree. It could be because I want to learn something that's going to change the world. Whatever that purpose is, that's the next part of your foundation as you're leading to your vision. And what are you willing to sacrifice is important, because along the way of growth and leadership, you are going to have to go through some things. You are going to lose people. You are going to lose friends. You might not get an A in the class that you feel like you should have gotten an A, but you know you've given your A effort. You have to be willing to sacrifice some things in order to get where you want to go and become who you need to become. Any questions so far? Because y'all can ask in the middle. I kind of like that. It makes it easier for me. Questions, comments? Not yet? Cool. So what is vision? So for me, vision has 3 levels. And first one is the literal, tangible. It's being able to see. Close your eyes, open your eyes. Oh, I can see light. There's people, there's things. Literal aspect of what vision is. The second level of vision is the intangible, the mode of seeing or conceiving. So it's when you're thinking, it's when you can visualize what's going to happen next. It's just a visual representation of what's happening, not the actual literal, but that visual. So it's intangible. And the third level, which is the sometimes a little bit harder for all of us, is the unusual discernment or foresight. It's next level, intangible to tangible. It's when you start to visualize what's going to happen and then you see it through. So it starts here and then it ends when you finish. So you can be like, man, I knew I was going to get that degree. I got in that last class. I did all the things I needed to do, and it's graduation day. So it's the vision that leads to the action. So vision has 3 levels. And as a good leader, you have to be able to move through those levels. You shouldn't just limit yourself to one. You need to be able to move through all 3. Why is vision important? So when I was growing up, I grew up in the church. My grandparents raised me, and they brought me to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. Every time the church doors flew open, I was there. And I'm proud of that. I wasn't at the time, but I'm proud of that now. So what my grandfather used to tell me all the time was, without vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. If you can't see where you're going, it's possible that you're going to stumble, or you might fail. So if I try to walk, and I'm clumsy already, so if I try to walk from here to there, and I close my eyes, I can almost bet you $100 I'm going to trip right about there, because I'm so worried about what's going on around me. But if I focus in, or I can focus in on you, and I can just walk towards you, and I see, and I'm looking, I'm going to make it to where I'm trying to go. It's very important that you utilize your vision, all vision. Remember, it's 3 levels of vision. Vision starts with the tangible, just opening your eyes every day and being able to see. Then you move into the next thing, is what do I want to do? And then you actually take the 2, merge them together, and that's when you get to where you really want to be, your final destination. So what type of glasses do you need? So there's 3 typical types of vision problems, and I'm just going to use something very simple because we all understand. There's 3 types, being nearsighted. That means you can see what's right in front of you, but long distances is a problem. I'm nearsighted. So I have on contacts. That's the only reason I don't have my glasses on. So sometimes I can see what's right here, what's going on, but if I look down there with my glasses, I'm going to squint, and I can't see them. I have to end up walking all the way down there to see what's on that paper. That's one level. So then the next level is farsighted. You can see long distances. Sometimes what's right here kind of blurry to you because it's just a little bit too close. And then there's blindness. Can't see anything. Close your eyes, nothing, right? So as a woman in leadership, when you're looking at vision, which level of vision do you guys think you have? Does anybody here think they're nearsighted? They can see what's going on in front of them right now in the moment. That's what they see, and that's how they react. How many of you think you're nearsighted? Okay, that's fair. So how many of you don't see what's happening right here, but you have the long game vision? So you can see what's going on, what's going to happen in the future. You have a plan, you have goals, and everything's happening. Raise your hands, okay? Anybody feel like I don't see anything? I'm just here, I'm just existing. Nothing going on for me. Well, you know, when I teach freshmen, sometimes they really do say, you know, I'm just here because my mom said I have to be here. So it's just like I have no vision for myself. I'm just trying to make it through this semester. So when you're looking at these three levels, so they all have their benefits. So when you're nearsighted, you live in the moment. You can see what's happening right here, and you react to what's happening right here. But don't forget that there's still things that are happening out there. Some of the decisions that you're making right here are going to affect what happens down there. So you have to be very careful. It's great to live in the moment. But sometimes you need to know that this video that I'm going to post on Snapchat might affect my ability to get an internship in the summer. Or this conversation that I'm having with this professor in this moment is going to affect my ability to be successful in the course. So living in the moment is great, but sometimes we have to play the long game. So then where are my farsighted people? Where are you? So you guys, you know what's going to happen. You are right here, and you know I'm going to graduate in May of 2020. This is going to happen. I'm going to go get a job as a professor, and I'm going to do all these things. And that's great. And it's important to make sure you're playing the long game, but sometimes you're missing right here. You know how they say you have to stop and smell the roses? Sometimes you really do. Sometimes in order to get any type of peace or just to make sure that you're playing the whole field, you need to know what's happening right here, because some decisions have to be made right here. Sometimes you have to decide right here that this is the thing I need to do here that's going to get me to there. You can't build a pathway. You can't just jump up in the air and land all the way over there. You have to walk. So there's a path that has to be built. And to build that path, you have to do it right here. It starts with the first step. So it's important that when you're utilizing your vision, you navigate between the three. You never want to be blind, but there's going to be moments in leadership where you are blind, where you walk into a meeting 100% prepared, you come in with all your notes and your documentation, you walk in and then your boss says, I know I told you to kind of talk about that, but I need you to do this instead. And you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? That has happened to me before, and I'm just like, okay, Lord, what do you want from me? So in turn, and you work it out, because your vision, it will just come to you. Because if you know who you are, you know why you're there, you can figure out what to do in that moment. See, it's all building blocks to becoming a great woman in leadership. You have to start at the beginning with knowing who you are. If you know who you are, you can survive most anything. Because at the core of who you are is going to dictate what you do next. So vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes time. Vision with action can change the world. Joel A. Barker. That's one of my favorite quotes that I like to give my girls at the end of the year. And we had our last class on yesterday. So we talked a lot about this, and I asked them about how have you grown as a young woman in this past year, because I have them for a whole year. So I get them in August, and they stay with me until May. And I asked them, how have you grown? How has your leadership style changed? What do you see differently in yourself? And they are more action-driven. All of them can tell you, all 22 of them can tell you who they are, why they're here, and what they want to do next. Even those who say, you know what, college is not for me, I think I'm going to go to the military. Or they say, I came here because my mom said I needed to be here. Now I understand what I have to gain by being here, how that's going to affect me, and how those decisions are bigger than just what my parents have decided is best for me. It's important that you all, each of you, if you haven't already done this, to take a personal inventory of who you are. Start right there. Some of you already know who you are. Some of you are kind of on the fence. Well, I was this person last month, but now I think I'm evolving, because the things that happen to us do shape us, and that's okay. That's to be expected. They're supposed to shape us. That's what life does. It shapes us. But it's your responsibility to not allow other things to shape you in a way that it changes who you are at the core of you, your purpose, and why you're here. You have to make sure that that happens, because at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your chapter. No one else should be writing your book except you. It's really that simple. I know, like she said, all these things, and she's making it sound so easy. It really is a lot easier than it sounds once you decide that that's what you want to do. That's who you want to become, and that's who you are. If anybody has any questions for me, you can ask anything you want. Nothing's off limits for now.
Don't be shy, speak up. All about leadership. Leadership is about talking.
Any comments? Anybody want to give us feedback?
Well, I'm so into being a leader, but I don't know what I can do to be a leader. You know? I don't know what sort of clubs I can join to become a leader. You know?
Okay, so leadership it starts in the morning when you wake up. You would be surprised how many people are affected by it when you walk into a classroom on time, or when you come to class and your professor is talking about something, you raise your hand and you have commentary. That's leadership. Leadership is deciding what to put on in the morning that makes you who you are. Whatever that may look like to the rest of us, I know that this is who you are because I recognize that on Wednesdays she typically might have a pink binder, but on Thursdays, she's going to come in her shorts instead, so she's more comfortable, so that might be her busier day. So people actually see what you do, and that's leadership in and of itself. And it doesn't have to be with organizations that you join. It's how you carry yourself, how you present yourself in class, what you do when you present during class time. And then you start to look for organizations that match who you are and who you want to become. How many of you are in any organizations on this campus? Only one, two? I challenge each and every one of you to find an organization on this campus that is going to help you become who you want to become next. Because that's going to be important. You need community to grow. You can't grow in silos. It's hard to grow in a silo. You need that community. Somebody in that group that you're going to join is going to help grow you, or it's going to be the connection you need to get you the job you want, or it's going to be the person that's going to connect you to the next person that's going to help you elevate to the next level. I know a lot of times we want to just be on our own, because I'm an introvert. I'm the person that sits in the corner, in the back of the room, doesn't say anything. I write everything down. I want to know everything. I want to see everything, but I don't want to say a word. I don't want to talk to anyone. That's just what I want to do. Then I want to tiptoe out, grab a bottle of water, and disappear as though I was never there. That's what I like to do. That's who I am. But I'm growing. As I'm growing, I'm learning that I need community. I need to be around others. I need to actually use my words. I paid a lot of money for these words when I went to college, so I would like to start using them. And as you start to become comfortable in yourself and your purpose, you will start feeling like, okay, you know what? I can say something. I can raise my hand. I can sit in the front instead of in the back. I can join a club, and I can actually be an active participant in my own life. Because when you sit in the back all the time, when you're quiet all the time, and you tiptoe out the room, and you only come on campus when it's time for class, or you have work studies, how are you growing? What are you doing that's growing you? A little transparency about me. When I went to college, I was a non-traditional student, meaning I had 2 children when I went to college. I was still 19, but I had 2 sons they were very little when I was in college. And so at first when I was in school, I was like, okay, I want to have a really good time, because my mom was gracious enough to have my children at home. I went to school 3 hours away from where I'm from, so she wanted them to stay with her because they were so little. She's like, I still want you to have a college experience. So those first couple of years of college, I decided I was going to go and I was going to have a really good time. And I did. A really, really good time. But I wasn't being true to who I was and to the person that my parents wanted me to be. I was just trying to be what I thought I should be at 19, which is partying, having a good time, and doing all the things that I wanted to do. As I got a little bit older and I got into trouble and things weren't going my way, everything started to change. My purpose changed, and I started to realize who I really was. I wasn't the person that needed to be out all the time. That's not who I really was at the core of me. I had to realize that I had two young men that were going to look at me one day and say, what did you do with your life? Now I have a 22-year-old and a 20-year-old, and they're amazing young men doing amazing things, because what my youngest son told me today when I spoke to him on the phone, because he's in the military, so he's in Japan, and he said to me today, he said, Mom, you know, I want to quit sometimes, then I remember being at your graduation. He said, I was 8 years old, and you were graduating for the first time. He said, I remember thinking, if I don't get it together, my mom will never let this go, because she did it with us, so I know I can do it too. So when you're doing that, it's like I say, in leadership, you are leading every day of your life. Whatever obstacles you have in your life is going to come back and be your testimony. It's going to be the story you tell someone else that's going to help them make it through. So don't be ashamed of your scars. Don't be ashamed if you're a traditional, a non-traditional student, if you have children, a child at home, if you've had a hard past. Anything that's happened to you is just a part of your story. It's not your story. It should not define you. It should not make your vision, but it should help you decide what your vision is. Any other questions? Comments?
How long did it take you to get out of your bubble of just walking out in silence?
As a professional, I've been here in Austin for 6 years. At Huston-Tillotson the whole time. I moved here from Las Vegas. I'm from Louisiana. I moved here from Las Vegas. I left my whole life in Las Vegas. I came here with 2 suitcases. Anyone who knows me knows that's it. The rest of my life was in Las Vegas. I probably didn't talk for the first 3 years in my job. I worked hard. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was one of those people who my excuse for not talking was, I'm going to let my work ethic speak for me, because I work hard and I'm going to do everything I need to do at the highest level. I just didn't say anything. And I realized that I was existing and not living, and I needed to live. So what I had to do was force myself. I had to say, you're going to talk. I would have these conversations, literally have these conversations with myself. I could be sitting right there between the two of you, and you would see me going, because I'm trying to tell myself, don't say anything, but the other part of me is like, you have to do this. You have to assert yourself. So it's going to take for you to tell yourself, it's okay for me to talk. My words are important. What I have to say is valuable, and you have to believe it. And it's when I really understood that this is where I was supposed to be, and it was okay for me to be who I am, and I accepted myself with all of the things that come with me. You just have to coach yourself. So yeah, you're going to have a conversation with yourself. You're like, don't say it. And then the other voice will say, well, you know, I think after all, and you're going to be like, you said it? It's okay to have that conversation. We all do it at some point, whether it's in public or private, we're all going to do it. But just tell yourself it's okay to be you. Look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, I'm perfectly fine the way I am. And it's okay. My words have value. Watch me. And you kind of have to make yourself, using your term, hashtag a boss lady in that way.
Would you agree, Marisa, that doing those things when you're not that kind of person, it makes you uncomfortable, but that being uncomfortable is just a part of growing? Because I was just like you, and anybody who knows me now would not think I was an introvert at all. But outside of the job, I absolutely am. But Yolani is actually one of my student workers, and I've seen her grow tremendously, but I know it's uncomfortable for her. But what I tell my students is that being uncomfortable is a part of growth. It's not always a comfortable thing to grow. Would you agree with something like that?
I absolutely agree, and I'm going to use a practical term. Has anybody heard the term growing pains? Do you know why they call it growing pains? Because it hurts. When you grow at that age, when you're in that middle school age, you start growing, and you know how I have sons again, and they would always be like, Mom, my legs hurt, my knees, and I'm like, okay, you're growing. That's what's happening. You're going to pass me up because I'm this small. Don't let these heels fool you. But it's painful to grow. You can't grow in stagnation. What's comfortable to you, when you get too comfortable, then you should start assessing your situation and start looking around you and saying, okay, wait a minute. I'm a little too comfortable. What else do I need to be doing? What else can I do? Even more practical example. What happens when you put on a pair of jeans and you can't get the buttons to meet? What do you have to do? You have to buy new jeans. You know why? Because you can't fit them anymore. So you have to do the action. So it's growing. You grew. We're going to call it growing. We're not going to call it gaining weight. We're going to call it growing. So when you grow, you have to do something different. You have to make adjustments, and making adjustments mean you're growing. So never feel bad when you're in this comfortable patch and then everything starts to shake. Like right now, I feel like my life is just shaking. So I'm like, oh my God, what's happening now? I was just finally getting comfortable, but things in my life are starting to shake up. So when your life is shaking up, don't freak out. I know I'm saying that, and I'm actually freaking out right now, but don't freak out. Just know that that means you're going to grow to the next level. Grow to the next place. Growth is painful, but it's fun. Because I don't like to be bored. I'm an introvert that doesn't want to be bored. I know that's really weird, but it's a fact. So just appreciate those moments in life when things are just going crazy. Because you can say, okay, I'm growing to the next level. I'm growing into the next version of myself that I'm going to become, and you will never stop evolving. You just won't. That's just life. One thing is certain in life is change. It's always going to come for you. Do you have any other questions, please? Comments? I mean, you're the only guy in the room. I know you have one.
I feel like a problem that us girls have is like we don't support each other. So we're constantly like putting each other down out of jealousy or spite, and like that's what makes it so hard to find yourself, is because you want to be this person, but you're scared of the feedback you'll get from those mean girls. And like you said, like you have to completely change your mindset and how you're going about it to grow. Because if you don't, you're just constantly going to be that introvert, and you're constantly going to be like, well, I don't want to say this or do this because of so-and-so. So I feel like having these little groups is good, just because one person at a time, people can change, but overall it's like girls need to support girls because we are a pack. Like, we should be able to support each other. And
empowered women empower women.
Yes, it just angers me that people will look at a pretty girl and just have anger towards her, like, she has prettier lips than me or prettier clothes. Like, why didn't you just be like, wow, like, her clothes are so pretty, or she does really good makeup. Like, a lot of girls don't think that way, and I take so many years to think that way, because when I was in high school, I was like that, and I hate it. I just wish that people would support each other more.
I think it starts with each one of you in this room. Something else that I do with my girls is I challenge them to go out and spend 1 week giving a compliment to a random person. Any random person. It doesn't have to just be, it's not limited to females, but a random person. Just walk up and you walk by someone and you say, good morning, I like your shirt. And just keep going with no expectation of anything, but just the notion that I just did something for you. I just gave you a compliment, but it's also for you too, because it shows you that you know how to help others. Because that small compliment, you never know how that's going to affect someone else. If all of you, for 1 week, from 1 week from now, just give a compliment to any random person, not someone you know, but someone you don't know, someone you pass by every day, someone that may live in your neighborhood or go to your church or wherever you are, just pass by with no expectation and say, good morning, good afternoon, you look nice today. I like your backpack. I hope you have a good day. Any of those types of things that changes the way people perceive you and perceive themselves. Because just like you said, a lot of times us girls, we're catty with each other for no reason. But if I can walk by you and say, you know, I really like your lipstick, and keep going, she may have been self-conscious about that lipstick when she was trying something new for the first time, and she's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And then you say that third, she's like, oh, I have all the confidence in the world. Now she can go give an amazing presentation in her class. I walked in today, true example, I walked in today and I was really nervous because I'm really, really shy. So I walked in and I was looking for the room and I was just standing and I was looking and a young lady walked up to me. She said, I just want to tell you that you look really nice. And by the way, can I help you find what you're looking for? I was like, oh, because I was freaking out and I was like, thank you so much. Like that meant so much to me for her to just say that you look nice because I was self-conscious about everything as I was getting ready for today. And then to help me find the room took a whole load off of me because I'm really awkward. So I'd have been probably walking past this little turn all day going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But that meant so much to me. So I can only imagine what if one of you just walked up to someone and said, hey, can I help you? Is there anything you need today? You need to borrow a pen when you see someone shuffling through the bag. I have a pen. I have an extra one. Here you go. That makes a difference, and it starts with each one of us. And if we can do it for someone, they can do it for someone else, and we can change the mindset. We have to start with us. We can't wait for someone else to do it for us. So if that's something that you're passionate about, then start it.
I would say even don't limit yourself. Something that we like to do is we just write random nice notes and we just stick them up places. And I get people all the time who are like, hey, I found this note. Was that from y'all? It just says, you're beautiful, have a wonderful day. Or, you know what, you're going to do great today. And I'm like, oh, I don't know who that was from. And
random acts of kindness.
You know, little things that really does help people. So you don't have to just do it that way. Take it a step above. Just people really flourish.
It makes you want to do nice things when other people do it for you.
Yeah, pay it forward.
Yeah.
And everything you put out into the universe comes back to you tenfold. And that's good or bad. So when you put out those positive vibes will come back to you. And you never know how and you never know when, and it could be on that one day that you needed it the most, it will come back to you. So you need to make sure that you're putting out what you want to attract. I'm picking on you. You got any questions?
I totally agree. I mean, unfortunately, people find it creepy these days. I'm engaged. I'm happily engaged, and there's nothing wrong with me finding a girl beautiful, you know, complimenting her. But in the States here, it's like, oh, it's creepy, you know. I say, oh, I like your lips, I like your hair, whatever, you know. Like, I ride the bus a lot, and I compliment people, you know. But then if I say to a girl, oh, I think you're cute, you have nice hair, she'll just be like, oh gosh.
You know, and a lot of times it's not that we don't appreciate it. It's just that we don't get compliments enough from people, that we don't know how to react. And that's the next thing. A lot of times, if you know it to be true, if someone walked up to you right now and said, oh my God, you're beautiful, you'd be like, and it's not that you don't, it's just that you don't know because you don't hear it. And that's why we have to make sure that we're hearing it. And that's going to be a part of who you become and who you are. And if you know that's what you want, then do it. That's leadership in and of itself, to your point earlier. That's something you could start very simply on campus. It's like she said, continuing with what they're doing. Post up notes in places where, you know, a lot of students are, where they're stressed out, like computer labs, or when they're trying to crunch time, write a paper. Put sticky notes on all the little screens that says, you can write this paper, you're going to make an A, I hope you have an amazing day. That's leadership because you changed someone's life and you don't know who it is. If 1 in 10 see that note that you wrote, someone's going to be moved by it. That's going to be like, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to be fine. This paper will be great, and I'm going to get an A. Because someone in the universe said so. Simple things you can do to just make everything a little bit easier for yourself and for others. Any other comments? I'm really enjoying this feedback. This is great for me.
I think positivity is contagious.
It is. It really, really is. Anybody have anything they want to share?
Well, when I'm positive, I know like everyone around me is like positive too. And I know it could just be like my perception, everyone, like, because I view everyone as equal. It's like, okay, if I'm happy, everyone else is happy. And it comes true most of the time. Yeah.
You pass on your vibes, leak on to other people. So if you find someone and you're like, oh, today's awful, I hate everyone, I just don't want anything to go, nothing's going right in my world. Sometimes the person next to you kind of tenses up. They're like, okay, she's not in a good place right now. Let me just not say anything to her. But sometimes when we see people in that state of mind, we need to just look over and say, you know, I don't know what's going on, but you will be okay. And you might get up and leave and go do something else, or have to go to class or go to work or whatever you have next. And sometimes that leaves a lasting impression. He's right, positivity is contagious. Be mindful of that. That is leadership. That is what we have to do to see the change we want to see. And it starts with all of us. I don't have anything else for you guys. I've given you all that I have. I didn't want to take up all of your time. I want to be mindful of your time because time is valuable. So if you don't have any questions for me, I think I'm going to bow out gracefully. While y'all still don't dislike me completely. All
right.
Thank you, guys.
Let's give her a round of applause, guys. Thank you so much for coming. That was amazing. We do have one more hashtag Boss Lady. It will be May 3rd in this room from 2 to 3 p.m. The topic is Knowing Your Worth by Miss Nikki Haywood. It's all about, do you know your value, need help with moving beyond the superficial fake it till you make it advice, and dig more deeply into understanding yourself and the foundation you need to build upon on value. Learn to work on the core, and it always showcases that in your worth. So please feel free to join us. If you didn't have a chance to sign in, please make sure that you sign in on your way out. If you would like to be part of our hashtag Boss Lady listserv, make sure that your email is there and legible for me to read, and you will be getting the notifications about our upcoming workshops. I also have quite a few little note cards over here on the table with all different kinds of sayings on it. Please feel free to grab one, two, all of them. Take whatever speaks to you. I have these hung up around my office, on my door. They speak to me and they help me realize my worth and what I have to give. So I would love for them to be able to help you guys realize the same. Again, thank you so much for coming. Please make sure that you fill out your evaluation. We'll collect it on your way out. Ms. Raylene will actually collect it for you. And for those of you who will be viewing this online, we appreciate you guys doing that as well. Again, May 3rd, please feel free to join us for the very last hashtag Boss Lady.